Today we're going to talk about what do you do when you make an offer on a house and then boom, there's a bidding war. There's ways that you can help yourself and prepare yourself to be a better offer even without having to go with an all cash offer like so many people are doing. Stay tuned to the end to find out how you can make sure you're competitive in a bidding war. Hey everyone, I'm Zach Walker, your Texas local lender. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about how to make sure you win the bidding war when you make that offer on the house that you love. So bidding wars are absolutely the norm these days. Nowadays, it's very rare for it to have a house just get one offer at list price and you ride off into the sunset. That's just not happening anymore, unfortunately. So what can you do to be more competitive in that bidding war? Well, let me tell you, use cash. I know. Crazy, right? Because not all of us have $500,000 in cash lying around. In our market specifically, we have a ton of people coming in from out of town. They capitalized on humongous amounts of equity in, say, California, and they have the ability to write a check for their next house because the cost of living is just no comparison here to where they've come from. So how do you, a normal person, compete with that? Well, that's where your real estate agent comes in, right? If you hire a fantastic real estate agent, they're going to be able to give you some of these tips to make sure that your offer is super competitive in a bidding war. The first thing we're going to talk about is, what if I have another house to sell? Okay. So you own a house right now. Obviously, you have equity in it because everybody has equity right now. Home values have just gone berserk. And you want to buy another house, but you're not sure if you can actually qualify for 2 loans. That's no problem. Reach out to your local lender, and they're going to look at, hey, what can we do to help this person buy a house? For our office, one thing that we can do is we can take the equity of your current home and create a bridge loan for you so that you can actually go in, make another offer that is not contingent on selling the current house, and get a competitive offer written even while you still have your house to sell, simply by using the equity in your current home. It's called a bridge loan. If you'd like more information on that, there's a video right down here that will explain a bridge loan to you. The second thing you can do with your real estate agent, of course, is to make sure that you attach enough earnest money and option period money to the deal so that the sellers know, man, these people are serious. The option period is the period of time in which you have to evaluate, is this home safe? Is it clean? Does it need repairs? I'm going to get it inspected, yada, 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 yada. There is an amount of money that you can attach to that will secure your right to inspect the house. So one of 2 things. You can either attach enough money to that they know you're serious. 2, you can shorten the length of time so that they know you're not really looking that hard. Or 3, you can waive the option period altogether. And now there's no inspection required to make sure that they're not going to lose that deal. While I never recommend waiving the option period, sometimes based on your real estate agent's expertise, it is the right move to make. A lot of these houses are brand new. Our house, for instance, we waived the option period. Why? It was built less than 16 months ago. I still had it inspected, but I had it inspected for my knowledge alone, not as a contingency of the deal. The other big thing that comes along in these bidding wars is the above asking price, right? Like if you have a bidding war, clearly we're going to get above asking price. Well, what does that mean for you and your loan? Well, that's a great question. You're going to have to come up with some money to go above and beyond, right? And it's going to have to appraise. So let's talk through that. Let's use $500,000 as the number. $500,000 house is what the list price is, $499,999. You make an offer at $550, right? And when the appraisal comes, you have 2 options. You either waive the appraisal or you get the appraisal. Now, there are multiple options within the waive appraisal category that we'll talk about next. But first and foremost, let's just talk about that appraisal. What that appraisal does, that appraisal evaluates the value of the home in the current market as compared to other similar homes that have sold in a certain distance around your home. What this does is this guarantees the bank that the house is not worth less than what they're lending you on it. So on a $500,000 house, if you put 10% down, they're going to lend you $450,000. Well, they've got to make sure that if you default on that house, they can turn around and sell that house for more or equal to what they've loaned you, or else they would lose money. And they're not in the business of losing money. So that's what an appraisal is. Now, how do you waive the appraisal? There's two types of appraisal waivers. There's a full waiver, there's a conditional waiver. In a full waiver, you're saying, I don't care what the appraisal value is. I want this house, and I will pay the difference in cash. Meaning, if you write your offer at $550 and the house appraises at $502, you owe $48,000 in cash money, homie, that you got to just write a check for at the closing table. Now, the second way you can do that is a modified appraisal waiver or a partial appraisal waiver. What that represents is, that's how I wrote my contract. I was willing to pay up to $10,000 over the appraisal price. So I wrote my offer, say at $550, and then my modified appraisal waiver said I'm willing to go up to $10,000 over the appraised value. So if the appraisal would have come in at $502, I would have been willing to write a check for $10,000 to go over to $512, but that's where it ended for me. That's not going to make you very competitive, but it is going to protect your investment, as you're not going to overpay for the house by a wider margin than you're comfortable. But since this video is about being competitive in a bidding war, we'll talk about the other side of that. And that is just straight up waive the appraisal. You've got to be willing and able to come to the table with cash money to pay the difference, which makes it very challenging. But it also means that you need to make some plans in your personal finances. If you're planning on buying a house and the market is very competitive, you need to be able to access the capital to make sure you can write that check and be competitive. Again, I'm Zach Walker, your Texas local lender. If you've got an appraisal situation or a crazy offer situation, you wrote the offer $100,000 over and you still didn't get the house, we want to hear about it right down here in the comments. Otherwise, like, subscribe, stay tuned for new content every week. We love you guys. Have a great day.